So much to unpack with this decision. Let's turn now to Amy Walsh, a former player on Canada's national team. Hey there, Amy. Thanks for joining us.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
So what was your reaction when you heard the arbitrator's decision that Canada's appeal was being dismissed here?
I was not surprised, quite frankly. I think the right move, because I think 6 points was highly punitive and Canada were clearly being made an example of, I think, in world football. I think appropriately downgraded to 3, but I'm not surprised that they held firm and it was not downgraded at all.
And you know better, of course, than anybody how the stress impacts players already just even being at the Olympics. What do you think this controversy is adding to all of that?
Listen, I think you saw exactly what those athletes are made of within that performance against France. And this has made them even closer and more united and more connected. And kind of an us versus them mentality. And it's an us versus them because it was a betrayal of the coaching staff with an unethical and unsporting decision that has now impacted the players. And you heard in Vanessa Gilles' voice, in her statement, in her words post-match, that we're not cheaters, we're a damn good team. And they showed it. I think they showed that, their character was never in question, but it remains that these actions are a blight and will potentially tarnish not only the players' personal reputations and integrity, but perhaps past performances, including that gold medal in Tokyo.
Yeah, certainly. And you've, of course, been around the game for so long, back to the 90s. Obviously, drone spying maybe wasn't a thing back then. But Priestman even said in those damning emails that spying in soccer is widespread, especially among the top 10 teams. So from your vantage point, how common is spying in soccer?
Yeah, even though I'm far removed, thank you for that slight dig. My career started in the late 90s, and the last competitive match I played for Canada was in 2009. So listen, technology has really evolved and advanced since then, but it was always a part of the game, where people would try to creep into a blacked out room within the stadium when you were your match day -1 training session at the stadium. It was always sort of the insidious part of the game and pervasive in the game, deeply embedded, you might even say, but it still doesn't make it right. I think it makes it even more overt now and available and accessible for teams to do it because drones are commonplace in this game because they're used for your own tactical sort of research. They're used for social media, as teams arrive into new venues and to play countries or clubs in towns, but it doesn't make it right. It still remains cheating. And so I think that to come down on Canada is fair. I expected sanctions, but as I said, I think they were really hard done by 6 points. So they've run the table so far. They've taken 6 points from 6, but they're sitting on 0 points. So as my friend Diana Matheson said, they're going to take 6 points from us. Let's go out there and get 9. So this is what this team is going to do today against Colombia. It's not going to be an easy feat, but they keep kind of going the way that they're going, where they're going to show the world what they're made of, and they're going to be united and in solidarity and extreme unwavering belief in one another. And they're going to look to get 3 points again today against Colombia and really control and write their own narrative, right? Like wrestle it away from what the staff members did. Those decisions that were condemnable actions. But now this is about the players, and it's solely about what's happening on the pitch.
Well, if spying is as widespread as you just mentioned and as everybody else has been talking about today and historical as well, do you think that this is the penalty that will be enough of a wake-up call to Canada's team and the other top teams to finally stop doing this?
I think so overtly in terms of flying a drone, and it remains that it was the height of stupidity to do it within the context of an Olympics where security is so heightened and also where it's illegal in French airspace. So that's kind of its own thing. But I think hopefully it eliminates that type of practice. I think that it will still remain in the game in some regard, but hopefully we're able to soldier ahead, and FIFA, in applying these sanctions, will be able to act swiftly and strongly in other realms of the game where like racist chants or sexual abuse, and they're able to come down harshly on teams that have those practices within their games as well.
Well, and as you just mentioned, soldiering ahead, Team Canada has to do that today against Colombia, and now they have to do it without their head coach and all of this hanging over them. So what are they going to have to do today to push ahead and win and continue on at the Olympics?
They employ the exact same, not necessarily tactics, but the same mentality and mindset and spirit and fight and heart that they showed on the pitch against the French. I think it's impossible at this point now to not root for these players, for these athletes. And I think if you're Colombia, I think you're a little bit scared of this team and the will and the determination that they've shown. But that said, Colombia will not be a team that's going to roll over. They are without their, I would say Linda Caicedo is perhaps the most well-known of the Colombians, but Maya Ramirez in a number 9 is like a runaway freight train. She's incredibly difficult to dispossess when she has the ball at her foot, but she's serving the second of a 2-match ban for a red card that she picked up against France in her opening match of Group A. So that is good news for Canada, but I do worry about them running on fumes a little bit. I don't think it'll impact them now. I think they'll be okay, but this clearly, this outside the pitch scandal and distraction, this massive distraction, has surely taken a toll emotionally and mentally.
Absolutely. All right, Amy. Well, a great discussion. Thank you so much for joining us on the program.
My pleasure. Thanks, Chris.
Amy Walsh, a former player on Canada's national team.